everyone. Today we're going to work on making predictions when we're reading. And we've done a lot of work with inferencing, making inferences, reading between the lines, and coming up with ideas that aren't written in the text, using prior knowledge, things we already knew, and clues from the author. The same is going to go along with predictions, but we're going to maybe predict specific things that could happen using clues from the story. So get ready to listen and follow along and get that thinking voice ready. Okay, so we're going to read a story called The Morning Meditation. Please visualize as I'm reading. After a stressful week as a trial attorney, Mr. Jenkins likes to meditate for a few hours every Saturday morning. Unfortunately, he lives next door to a large empty field where the neighborhood kids like to play baseball on Saturdays. On this Saturday morning, Mr. Jenkins settled down in his sunroom in front of the tall windows for his usual meditation practice. Outside, he could hear the kids gathering. He took some deep breaths, with which he tried to release his irritation. He closed his eyes. Outside, the game was beginning, and just as Mr. Jenkins began to experience real relaxation, he was startled by the sharp crack of a bat hitting a ball. A moment later, and we have ... so we know this story isn't over. Okay, we are going to predict what's going to happen next. Before we do that, though, I am not sure what you were thinking, but as I was reading this, I was kind of making a personal connection because I remember in our SEL lesson, we were talking about when we are stressed, that deep breaths help us. So I see that Mr. Jenkins is using that strategy. He was trying to relax. I see the word irritated, so he was a little irritated, and we know that when we're stressful or irritated, taking those deep breaths help us relax. So that was going through my mind. And then I made a connection to another text we read. When we read Carl the Complainer, there was another character very similar to Mr. Jenkins who lived near where the neighborhood kids like to play, and how they sometimes bothered him or irritated him when they were playing. So I made a connection to that text, which made me kind of understand the story a little better. But we need to predict. After this, what do you think happened? You might stop this if you're at home working and talk with somebody, or if you're in your class, your teacher might stop it, come up with some ideas of what you think's going to happen. Look for clues. I see that he was startled by the sharp crack of a bat hitting the ball. So that's a noise when that baseball hits that bat. I also saw a clue that he was settled down or sitting in his sunroom in front of tall windows. And then I was thinking, well, they like to play in that large empty field right by his house. So I know they're pretty close. So when I was reading this, I am predicting that a baseball is going to come through one of those windows. My clues are he's very close to the empty field. He's sitting by these glass windows, and I think that's a clue the author's giving us. And then being startled. Startled means you're like surprised or maybe a little scared because he heard that crack of the bat hitting the ball. So maybe you came up with a different prediction, but I think based on the clues, that would be the best choice. We could predict what he does after the window maybe breaks, but our first prediction is just what happens. And I think that window is going to get a baseball through it very soon. So as you're reading, Maybe think about what could be happening next. Maybe make a prediction or two. And then if you see a ... or you turn a page, see if you're correct. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.